What's up, Doc? Welcome to the Docs Get Money podcast. Are you a badass doctor killing it professionally and has bigger dreams than just clocking in and out of the hospital? Do you want to leave behind a legacy that is as lit as an HBCU homecoming? Want to know how other doctors are getting to the big bag? That's right, making 5, 6, and 7 figures without putting on the white coat? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Kimberly, but you can call me Kim or KB. I went from being a burnt out and overwhelmed emergency physician to the founder and CEO of 2 6-figure non-clinical companies and beating burnout along the way. I'm also your business coach, here to help you make money moves to change the world. This podcast isn't just about making money, though. It's about leveling up your life, mindset, and bank account so you can build an empire that's as iconic as Beyonce. You ready? Let's get into it. Welcome to episode 1 of the Docs Get Money podcast. This is your host, Dr. Kimberly Brown. I am so glad to have you guys here for this very first episode. I'm going to be honest with you, even though I have a few different times been a podcaster and been in this entrepreneurial journey for a little while, and I am currently a podcaster for the American Academy of Emergency Medicine Jedi section. However, this feels a little bit different for me. Hitting the record button for the very first episode of this podcast. So I want to say something that's on my heart, and I just want to thank you for tuning in to this very first episode. I know this is going to be a magical, fun journey, and I think because of all the anxiety and the procrastination and the nervousness and honestly the exposure that I have been feeling up until me hitting the actual record button and pushing past all that, makes me know that there's something magical here on the other side. So I appreciate you for at least starting the journey with me. I look forward to having you be a listener for a long time. You know, this podcast is going to be a blast. This is going to be my fun project. I am looking forward to sharing more about myself, more about my journey as an entrepreneur, more about my journey as I'm still practicing emergency medicine. And honestly, as I'm phasing out, I'm so looking forward to that. And really just to empower you and to let you know that you are so much more than just the letters after your name. You are someone that is here to make a difference in this world. And that's why you practice what you do and you are who you are as a physician or a dentist or a pharmacist or whatever healer or helper, I will say, even in this world. And so you may be listening to this podcast because you are burnt out from your clinical practice and want to do something else and you're not sure what that is for you and want to probably just know what's out there for you. You may be just a medical student or a resident or a fellow who knows that, clinical medicine is not going to be there always. And they want to just know what other doctors are doing, being able to see what other non-clinical ways that they can also get to the bag and still make a difference and make an impact. And so I look forward to not only sharing my journey and trying to do the same, but other doctors and other bosses and other people that are also killing it and crushing it. I have several podcast guests already lined up for you. So you will be hearing them kind of sprinkled throughout the series. But I'm really excited to be with you guys for episode 1. So all that being said, I'd love to tell you a little bit more about me. Like I said, my name is Dr. Kimberly Brown. I'm also an emergency physician by day. I practice locum tenens. I'm based in Memphis, Tennessee, and that's where I did my residency. I finished in 2018. And so I have been, like I said, based there since 2015. And I'm also the CEO and founder of Sherwood Properties. It is a midterm rental business that's also based in Memphis. I'm so proud to say that I have grown that company to six figures while still practicing medicine full time and beating the burnout that I was experiencing at the end of COVID. And I'm sure a lot of you guys can be and can relate to that. So that is my baby. And I'm also a business coach to other doctors who want to do the same for themselves and build their own non-clinical businesses outside of medicine. So I have a business coaching program. It's called From Side Hustler to CEO. You'll hear plenty about it throughout the journey. And you'll probably hear from some of my clients as they grow their businesses along the journey. You'll hear from them. I'm so excited to share more about from side hustler to CEO. But yeah, the real passion and the real fire under my belly is my business, Sherwood Properties. So it was the middle of September, 2022. I had just founded and just started Sherwood Properties about 5 months prior. And I just had my one apartment, modern luxury, my two bedroom, one bathroom apartment that I was, like I said, just started. And I was in the middle of opening up my second apartment. And I was kind of struggling really to manage the money and to find a good cleaner and doing all of the things that people don't really talk about when you're running a short or midterm rental business. And I had a few clients, but things were not really good financially. And I was just sitting on my bed and I was crying my eyes out. I was in the middle of this scary time in my business. Like, who was I when I was already struggling in my business to be trying to open a second apartment? And then on top of that, I was in a really challenging relationship that came to a very sudden end in a pretty dramatic way. And my partner at the time was my muscles, my energy to kind of help me to move furniture and get things together. He was my person that helped me to decorate everything. And so when we suddenly broke up, my whole life just fell apart. And I was struggling to see myself. Not only on top of that, I had just decided to not sign a full-time contract at the hospital that I was working at and in Memphis. I am a big believer in not signing full-time contracts longer than 1 year. And so my contract was up in September. And I decided to just go PRN because I thought that I could, between just kind of managing some PRN shifts that I was working and then working full time or the rest of the time in Sherwood Properties, that I would be able to really replace my clinical income. And so, but I had never done that before. I had never trusted in myself in that way to just not have a contract, not have the security of having a full time job. And I was crying my eyes out. I was bawling. I was sitting there on my bed because I'm like, what the heck is happening to me? What is going to become of my business? What is going to become of me? I felt like the walls were crashing down. I was burned out of practicing medicine. I was sick of going in the hospital and just not having what I needed, fighting with consultants, seeing people and discharging them, having patients just like being hella disrespectful at work. It was just a lot. And so I didn't know what to do. I externally had a business that, like, honestly, if you look at it, was growing and expanding. But on the inside, I'm just scared. I didn't know how to run Sherwood Properties. I knew how to start it up, and the coach that I had hired basically helped you to start it and get it running for the first, few months. But I wanted it more to be not just a quote Airbnb business. I wanted it to be a legacy. I wanted it to be a legitimate business that I could grow and pass down, and it could be um iterated and changed on, and that my children, even though I don't have them yet, could have something of their own and be able to pass down to their children. And so I also wanted to very much make sure with properties replace my clinical income. But the months were all over the place. I was only listing on Airbnb. I hadn't really tried any other listing services and didn't really have a consistent source of leads for midterm and longer term guests. And so I was really struggling and strapping and scraping to make it by, but I wanted it to go there. So I also just wanted to be free of practicing medicine. I did not want to have to keep practicing medicine and just piecing together different shifts to keep going. I was not enjoying being in the hospital. I wasn't feeling like I was making a difference every day. I was feeling drained. I was not getting paid as much as I wanted to be paid. I took a pay cut um, after the full-time contract that I had. And after seeing what corporate medicine does to us as physicians, and that's a whole separate podcast episode in and of itself, I was just over it, and I didn't want to continue to submit myself to that anymore. So I just wanted to be free and to know how to grow my business, my baby, Sherwood Properties, named after my grandfather, into something that I know that he would be proud of. So I don't know. I was in the thick of it. I was spiraling. I was thinking all of these thoughts because this is what I want, but who am I? I don't know how to do this. I had tried so many different ways to be an entrepreneur in the past. I tried being a brand ambassador. I had tried podcasting before. I have tried Oh, what else have I tried? So many different things. I tried real estate investing in a different way. I had a traditional rental before I got into the rental business. I had to, I wrote books. Like I said, tried to be a brand investor. I had tried so many other different things to make money, and none of them ever came of anything. I would only make just like piddly little amounts of money, and I was tired of it. And I'm like, what? I saw myself making strides and making more than just a few $100 a month sometimes. I saw myself making a couple thousand, but I knew the potential of where it could go. I just did not know how to get my business there. And I was freaking out because I just like, well, how do I do this? How am I going to be juggling all this? I feel like the weight of the world was on my shoulders. I I don't know. And I was sitting there in my puddle, in my tears, on my bed. Something came over me. And I don't know what it is. Even to this day, it's hard for me to describe the actual feeling. It was like a revelation. And maybe it was a voice, maybe it was God. And I started to like change my thoughts. And I really started to think about, well, Kim, you can think about all of those things as failures, but think about all of the things you've won, the battles you've overcome, the fact that you failed the MCAT, quote unquote, 3 times and still became a medical doctor. The fact that despite the fact that you went to a Caribbean medical school, you matched into your number one program in your number one desired specialty. the fact that I have had multiple awards, but more specifically, I started reminding myself of the times that I had tried and tried and tried, and then I succeeded. And so at the end of the day, I reminded myself that I had the tenacity, the power, the ingenuity, the wherewithal to figure it out on my own and or try to a different way to figure it out. And so at the end of the day, I always had myself to fall back on. I knew I would always try to make my dream come true no matter what. So it was at that point I decided to bet on myself. And it was when I learned to take the responsibility for the results of myself, my life, and more specifically for Sherwood Properties, that's when everything changed for me. I, at that point, ended up hiring a business coach. And from that time, I started implementing sales and marketing strategies that were outside of the traditional methods that I had heard from just advertising your website on or your advertising your rentals on Airbnb. I started investing my money in creating a direct booking website with creating an email list. I started direct marketing and passing out flyers in the hospital. I really started to put in the work and actually try to make my business succeed. And from that point on, it's been up ever since. So that was September of 2022. And I sit with you now in March of 2024 as I'm starting this podcast. And Sherwood Properties has made over six figures. I have a small team of beautiful Black women entrepreneurs that I work with. I'm able to serve patients' families. I'm able to serve traveling medical professionals. I'm able to serve the the local community, even in a way as well too. And so, from going from being in a puddle to having a six-figure company that actually makes a difference in the world and less than a year is mind-boggling. And so I say all this and I share this story to say that it's when you start betting on yourself and creating what you want to see in the world, that's when every piece of what you want comes true. So I said to you now, I still do practice medicine, but that burnout that I was telling you about, it's not there anymore. It's not there anymore, really, because I found a way to make money outside of the hospital, finally. And it makes me happy and I'm able to wake up every day and through good and the bad, the ups and the downs in that business show up. And I know that my time and my energy and my dollars are not tied to me walking through the the ER doors anymore. Words, I got to get them out. And so I say that to say because I love seeing other doctors and I love helping other doctors find their own peace and find their own path and find their own entrepreneurial journey. And that is why I'm now a business coach that helps doctors that may be in the same position that I was, either just wondering what's next for them or just completely over. And I do mean over practicing medicine and need to have a way out for their own mental health and their own mental sanity. I am here to help you to do that. I don't want you to have to go through the consternation and the journey of, suffering if you don't have to. Let me, let my processes, let my words, let this podcast even help you to find a way to find your bliss and package up your expertise into a way that makes you money. So, I look forward to sharing with you so many different things on this podcast. I look forward to talking to you about my personal journey as things that I'm experiencing as an emergency physician. I'm looking forward to sharing with you my wonderful, fabulous clients because my clients are amazing. Okay. I am so blessed to have so many amazing clients, and I'm so glad that you guys are going to be hearing from them and all that they are creating and putting out into the world, and so that you can support them because I want you to be able to see other physicians that are getting to the bag non-clinically and knowing that it's possible for you too. And so I'm also looking forward to sharing with you a little bit more, like I said, behind the scenes of what it's like to kind of still practice and probably a lot of, maybe a little sprinkle, a little personal stuff from here, from there as well as too. Not everybody you guys are going to hear from is going to be a physician, and I love that for us. There are several people that are in my life that are currently supporting me as an entrepreneur behind the scenes as a business, and I love to just expose you guys to more of those people. So looking forward to you meeting some of my coaches, some of my people that I work very closely with that makes my empire kind of continue to thrive and survive and flourish. And maybe you would want to work with them too. And so, yeah. Well, this has been an interesting very first episode. I can tell you, I have stopped it and I've started it. I hit the record button and then I stopped it again. But I'm so glad that I made it through this first episode and that you joined me on the Docs Get Money podcast. So I look forward to having you on the next episode. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, please share this episode with a friend, tell someone, and give us a rating and review wherever you are listening to this. Until next time, I will see you later. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Docs Get Money podcast. New episodes drop every Thursday wherever you find your favorite podcast. Share, comment, follow, and subscribe to the Docs Get Money podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to know more, visit me, Dr. Kimberly Brown, at KimberlyBrownMD.com, and be sure to follow me at Dr. Kimberly B on Instagram. And until next time, let's go get this money, honey.